More than ever now, masks seem like the go-to answer to the surge. More than half the states have now issued statewide mask requirements. That being said, though, masks, as you know, are still a major flashpoint for a lot of people. So are we putting too much faith in masks, or are they the answer? I think this kind of came to a head right at the Utah County meeting, and we want to get right to this. Take a look at what happened yesterday at a Utah County meeting. Take a look.
This is the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. We are supposed to be physically distancing, wearing masks, and so all of our medical experts, our Department of Health, everyone is encouraging us to do that. This room is not complying with these health guidelines. This creates a health concern.
All right, so clearly it's a flashpoint for a lot of tension. I want to know your take on this, Erica. What do you think?
I've been following a lot of people, obviously, and I find it interesting, the likening to seatbelts, whether you should have to be legally required to wear seatbelts. And the interesting thing about seatbelts is most of society has agreed that seatbelts save lives. Now, there's always going to be people who are like, no, you know, a seatbelt can actually kill you. And it's interesting because these personal decisions that we're using to protect ourselves are actually affecting the people in our smallest circles first. If you don't wear a seatbelt and you're in the back seat and you get into a head-on collision, you could go into the front seat, knock heads with the person in front of you, and that could be your cause of death. So when you think about masks, yes, it is your person, but at the same time, it's how it's affecting everyone around you, starting with the people who are actually in your vicinity. So it's a very interesting likening, in my opinion.
That's really interesting. And Erica, I wanted you to bring up this as well. Speaking of when it becomes personal to you, you sort of act. Talk to me about Chuck Woolery. What happened here?
Well, Chuck Woolery said that basically COVID was not a thing.
It was a hoax. Yeah.
And then it turned out that, unfortunately, his son was diagnosed and tested positive for COVID. I was listening to the prolific poet, Big Baby, who... the big picture.
Me too.
And he says, whatever happened to COVID? And he says, unless it affects your people, then it's like it doesn't matter. So, you know, that's the thing. It's not real until it affects someone around you.
Yeah. Lynn, what's your take on all of this? And do you see two sides here?
I mean, I got the mask alert today that everyone should be wearing them. And I just think it's like this precaution that we're just trying to protect ourselves. At this point, we have beat ourselves out 11 different times on breaking new records on who has the most cases of coronavirus each day. And so it's kind of crazy that we're in a competition for last place at this point. Yeah. When we have governors, for specifically in Georgia, arguing with Atlanta mayors, telling them this should be regulated, this shouldn't be regulated. Like, this is not a cohesive plan that makes any kind of sense. You know, you want people to stick together, and if this is what we're going with, we need leadership right now that's gonna come together and come to an agreement that this is our plan forward. And I've been saying this since day one, that a federal plan will probably be best. If we're listening to Dr. Fauci, then so be it. But like, if that's the guideline, just do it. If there's a chance it could protect people, why take the chance and not protect people?
Yeah, I agree. It's crazy. If you are from Georgia, Brian Kemp, the governor, as Lindsay was saying, is now suing Chicago Mayor Bottoms for basically, Atlanta Mayor Bottoms for making sure we have a mandate for masks. So it's gotten to the point of now we're suing each other over it. So let us know what your thoughts are, and I'll be reading your comments because it's gotten a little spicy over here. All right, moving on to this viral video. It's from a protest in Portland on Wednesday. So this is so interesting. Two federal agents, we don't know where they're from, who they're with, in full-on camo gear, no insignia, go to arrest a protester. They say nothing. No idea what this person has done. They don't say you're under arrest for this. Then they load him, or them, excuse me, I'm not sure, into an unmarked van. So what are they doing there? Our sister station in Portland reports that federal agents are deployed to protect federal property. They've made about a dozen arrests, but one person was seriously injured when a U.S. Marshal opened fire with less than lethal ammunition over the weekend. Meantime, after nearly 2 months of protests over the police-involved deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and more, where do things stand now that the media has largely turned its attention away? Lindsay, I just want to quickly talk on the protests in Portland. That's fascism. from what I see, when you don't know who's taking you in, what you did wrong, there's no one to report to. That is the opposite of a republic. What do you think?
Right, and we don't want to see that type of outcome, but when we talk about protests now and the overall impact, I think that it's important to note that we want to overall reform of the entire system, right? There's systemic racism and things that are embedded in our system that are keeping people down, but many things have happened, and I have a whole list of things that have happened. Like officials in Washington, D.C. and California and Nevada have banned chokeholds. Mayor Bill de Blasio pledged to move funding from the police department to youth programs and mental health programs. You know, we got arrests in Ahmaud Arbery's case. We have arrests in George Floyd's case. We're still waiting for an arrest in Breonna Taylor's case. But many small things have happened, and we all know that change happens brick by brick. So when people think that we're not talking about these protests, maybe not on a national scale on the same level, but I think that many people are still in the streets and change is happening on a small level, and hopefully it'll keep just going up and up over time.
I agree
because
with
all
you.
we have to focus on is this, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, and there's nothing else to do. No one else is going outside besides to protest. So I think we are making major steps.
I do see progress. When we started talking about disbanding police because of systemic racism, that's something that's a very niche thing to talk about, and now it's in the general population. Erica, talk to me. Breonna Taylor, talk to me about that.
You know, I think, first of all, Monday, and Lindsay and I have on Instagram, you can see Who Cares What We Think, and we talk about Breonna Taylor and Sandra Bland. There's action steps still. For Breonna Taylor, callforbrianna.com, and you can call Kentucky lawmakers and make sure that they understand that you want justice for Breonna, as well as arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. I think what has happened is we've gone from a very optical response where you could see people posting the black squares, you could see people saying Black Lives Matter, and now we're going into corporate response where how do we create change within our systems? We're going into the private sector. How do we create change within our systems? And I think that the non-optical response is non-optical because you don't see it immediately. But is change happening? Absolutely. But we need to keep Black Lives Matter, as well as justice for all of these people who haven't received it, very much on the front lines. And that's why the protesters are still in the streets.
I agree. It's maybe not so sexy, those little things like the corporate, what you're saying about, but they're just as important. But please go to those websites if you're interested. This is a fantastic story. Tyler Perry, man, is at it again. He donated $50 grocery store gift cards for 1,000 lucky people. But then he did something very important here. He asked police in Atlanta to hand them out to residents. He said this was about trying to bridge the unity in a city that adopted him, building goodwill between the police and the community. I mean, I wish we had politicians like this. I mean, this is thinking outside the box, and this is, I would say, working in terms of building community. Don't you think, Erica?
I think anything that we can do in order to create harmony and unity within the communities and the police departments is a good thing. Tyler Perry always goes above and beyond, and you know, sometimes he's criticized for it, which I don't understand, because if you aren't contributing to doing something productive and positive, then don't comment on the people who are.
Yeah, sit down. What do you think, Linz?
I just got to say amen to Erica.
Yeah.
She has the spot on. I agree. I think people need to be in the community if they're going to police the community.
And if you're going to speak up about it, you better be doing something. Am I right? I'm right. All right. In case you didn't know, it's World Emoji Day. Switching gears here. And while Apple and Google haven't announced any new emojis yet, here are a look at some of the most popular ones used on Twitter. At number 3, we have the pleading face emoji. It's a yellow face with large puppy dog eyes used to represent adoration or feeling touched by a nice gesture. I thought it was for despair. Have I been using that wrong?
I guess.
Oh, I've been using that wrong. Okay. The second most popular is the loudly crying face emoji, which can be used to express either uncontrollable grief or overwhelming joy. But the number 1 emoji is the face with tears of joy. You know, when something is just that funny. I don't know. I'm using the face palm a lot. Is Lindsay, what are you use? Oh, excuse me, Erica. What's your favorite emoji? We have a graphic.
Well, I had to go a little personal on this one, and it's just like, I don't know what's happening in the world.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know.
That's a really good one. The prompter, scroll down. I don't know who's next. Is it me? Yep, my favorite emoji, as I said earlier, is this one. Just the face palm. Just lots of things, murder hornets, a lot of things going wrong. Lindsay, what's your favorite?
Mine is just a mind blown because if you think about it, we got into coronavirus, but in this year alone, we had Harvey Weinstein go to jail, Kobe Bryant died, and many other things that still have happened in the first 2 months of this year, and I just can't even. I can't deal.
I think
too
the
much.
word of the, yeah, and it's also I can't even is a lot of things. Someone left an email and just signed it anyway in their name instead of sincerely. Oh man, coming up on DBL, I fangirl embarrassingly over actor Chase Stokes. He'll tell us what he needs and knows about a possible second season of the hot teen drama Outer Banks. I sound such a creeper. Plus, Tamar Braxton gets rushed to the hospital. What led up to her being found unresponsive in a Los Angeles hotel room.
Pets are family, and we know it. So
It's weird, you know, I think as an actor, you know, just getting validated in your work is such a far-fetched concept.
Yeah.
You know, so many people come to LA, you know, chasing this, you know, pipe dream of like wanting to be a working actor. So to be a part of a project and to work with such great people and to have the best cast on planet Earth and the best creators that I could have ever asked for, I think for me that's the most important thing, and that's what I live for, is just continuing to create with great people and doing great work.
Guys, I think there's a boat down there.
This is my father's.
Outer Banks is this really great action adventure mystery, and it's gained this huge fan base. I want to know, what was it like being recognized for the first time?
I was on Hollywood Boulevard. I was walking back from a Ralph's,
Yep.
and somebody just screamed, "John B, I love you," and I almost dropped all the groceries because I was walking.
I can't pretend like this isn't real.
On the show, you fall in love with Sarah Cameron, played by Madeline Klein, and now you're dating in real life. Sorry, when did you guys realize the
Cat's out of the
chemistry?
bag.
When did you realize the chemistry moved off camera?
You know, it was one of those things that happened after filming. It was, we had created kind of this crazy, realistic world with the show. The friendship just sort of kept developing as time progressed, and it honestly wasn't until this year, like April, during the quarantine, we were all together, and I kind of looked at her and I was like, "Do you want to, like, kind of try this out?" And we kind of made it official like late April.
Well, we were all as fans, we were all praying, but I'm married to my best friend, and friendship first is always a really good foundation. All right, Chase, I gotta ask, what do we know about season 2 of Outer Banks? Give me the goods.
So season 2, you know about as much as I do, unfortunately, you know, due to the whole pandemic and everything going on. We're just waiting, we're just being patient. I feel like I'm going a little bit manic, but yeah, so we're waiting. And just super pumped to be partnered with Sweet Earth and kind of doing this in the meantime. So
That's awesome.
super thankful for that.
Tell me about that. I see some kebabs in the back. Can you talk to me? You're making me hungry. What are you doing?
We got some kebabs, we got some burgers, we got some sausages. Yeah, no, so they have a very large variety of products. The ones that I am super, super stoked about is the Mindful Chicken as well as the Awesome Burgers. To have a plant-based product that actually tastes like chicken and like a burger has been such a refreshing thing for me. So it's been awesome to kind of have Sweet Earth and everybody kind of behind me, keeping me healthy and full in my belly.
I want to thank you so much. For more on those plant-based foods, you guys, check out
Absolutely.
sweetearthfoods.com. You can catch Outer Banks streaming now on Netflix. It's a great show. Go and get some Sweet Earth food. Thanks again, Chase. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head in monthly payments, there's a secret the credit card companies don't want you to know. If you have more than $10,000 in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's bad news for the credit card companies, but it's great news for you. We're
Welcome back to DBL. New cars come with so many safety features, but do these fancy gadgets actually help reduce car accidents? So we're chatting about it on today's DBL Drive, sponsored by, I forget, who y'all?
Car Shield.
Thanks, Erica. ADAS, also known as Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, are becoming more common in new cars. So it's technology like cameras and sensors that detect motion and alert the driver about emergency braking, blind spot detection, collision warning, and more. Does it work, though? Studies show crashes involving blind spots were 14% lower with the ADAS equipment. It also shows if every car in the U.S. was equipped with it, about 50,000 crashes could be prevented. So yes, it is more safe, but it does raise the cost of repairs and insurance rates. When it comes to your car, for peace of mind, get an auto protection plan with Car Shield. Car Shield protects their members from the high cost of auto repairs. Call 1-800-505-9619 for a free quote.
Okay, I just want to add to this. If you drive a car with ADAS, you should not be allowed to drive any other vehicle. It makes you a lazy driver.
Oh.
And you do not pay attention to everything because you're used to having ADAS.
All right.
Sign the girl who's guilty.
I think she's speaking from experience. DBL's new every day. We will see you same time, same place on Monday. Lindsay, you look fabulous. It was a lovely ladies' day. Mwah!
See ya.
Bye, love.